What's up? So I just went to the hobby store. As you've seen in my previous video, I tore apart the transmission case for my Rustler VXL. My aluminum transmission case came in the mail. So I'm gonna go ahead and build that up, put all the pieces in it, and get it working. Right into the hobby shop. And this is what I picked up, all the pieces needed to build a brand new transmission. Now I have all the pieces that I took out of the other transmission right here, but I'm actually going to keep those, clean them up, and re-grease them and put them back in the old case so that I can use that transmission to convert my Jato into an electric Jato. So the local hobby shop had every single piece that I needed except for one piece, a little pin. So what I'm going to do is use the old pin in the new transmission to get that one working, and then I'll wait to get the pin to convert to e-Jato. Purchased another set of tires. I have one set already. That way I'll have ones for the front and back. These are Jatos. I have the 2030s. These are the 2040s. The offset isn't correct, so the tires will stick out a little bit, but that's no big deal. Bought a tool pack. It's a Dynamite tool pack. $24.99 at local hobby shop. Can probably pick it up online for 11 bucks. I wouldn't doubt it. But I had in-store credit, so $45 in-store credit. I said, you know, I'll pick up everything there. Hardware pieces for the new aluminum transmission case, gearbox, transmission case, transmission box, whatever you want to call it. Parts I had to pick up were differential gear, or planetary gear setup, clutch roll pin, pins that go in the clutch roll pin. These are little washers. Need like 5 of them, I believe, 4 or 5, something like that. This is the drive gear. These are bearings. You need 6 bearings. This is the idle gear. And you can see the prices on all these things. They're priced a lot higher than if you were to go on eBay or buy them online. But like I said, I had in-store credit that I needed to use up. So a couple other things that I purchased from AutoZone. White lithium grease. Now I notice in this package right here they include some white lithium grease, but I'm going to use this stuff instead. And I also picked up some Valvoline industrial multi-purpose grease, which I mentioned in the previous video. So let's go ahead and start getting this put together. So the first thing I'm going to do is put these planetary gears together. So I got all my pieces out of the package and ready to go. And I made a mistake and I said that the differential gear of the planetary gears come with white lithium grease. It's actually not white lithium grease. It says thrust bearing grease. I'm going to go ahead and use that instead of the Valvoline stuff that I bought. And the reason why is because it's in a tube and it's going to make it easier to squeeze in there. So as you'll see, your differential gear will come with 4 of these little pins. I'm going to put these in the 4 little holes that you can see down in there. Once you got your 4 pins in there, you're going to take your 4 little gears, and those are going to slip right over your pins. And you'll notice 2 of the little pins have an elevated spot. Once you have your gears in, it should look something like this. You'll notice that 2 of the gears will sit lower than the other ones, and that's because the next step, you'll see why. So now, what you're going to do after you got those little gears in, is you're going to take this gear and slip it down in here, post side down. You can see the hole down in there. That slips right through there. That's going to allow these bottom gears that are sitting lower to roll on this gear. So now you can see I have the gear down in there, and it pokes out the bottom. Next thing you're going to do is take your other gear that looks like that one there, put this pin into there, so it should look like that. Now you'll see there's a hole in the other gear. This is going to slip right down in there into the hole in the other gear. Once you have it in, it should look like that. Next thing you're going to do is take your grease, and you're going to fill up that thing about 3/4 of the way. I'm just going to squirt it on both sides of these, spin it around a little bit, and just get all the gears lubed. And like I said, about 3/4 of the way. Trying to do this one-handed isn't very easy. You can see I squirted some grease down in there. I'm just going to kind of give it some spins around. You'll see it a little bit hard to spin at first. Another thing you might want to do too is put the grease in before putting this one in. That way you got more room to fill it up. You can see I kind of just squirted it in. Give it some spins. Get the grease all lubing around there. I'm going to put this pin back in. So you can see it's greased up pretty good in there. Now we're going to go ahead and put the top on. Now at the top you're going to see that there's a couple elevated pieces of plastic. Those are going to slip right over the gears that are sitting in lower. I'm going to put your 4 screws in. Not going to fully tighten the first one yet. Until I get the second one in. I'm just going to make sure they're all nice and snugged in. I don't want to go too tight to strip them. I just want to make sure this is all flush. So after you get your top screwed on, you're going to want to spin these, as I'll just take my little wrench I used to screw the top on, stick it through here, and just make sure that it spins good. Make sure it's nice and loose and spins good. If you can really feel the gears grinding in it, you're going to have to pull that top off again and make sure, because sometimes the pins won't line up with the holes correctly, and then you'll have like a hard gear that won't turn very well. So just stick your screwdriver in there, give it some spins, make sure it spins nice and freely, and it should be good to go. Now it's time to put the transmission case together. Got my bearings out and ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and pop the bearings in their spots. Bearings are in. Next thing you're going to do, pop your little pin in right here. That's where the idle gear is going to set. It doesn't really matter which side you put it in first, over here or over here. I'm doing it on this side with the open hole where the motor goes, just because it's got a farther inset right here, so I can set the differential gear in there. Next you're going to take your idle gear and pop the little bearings in each side of those. And your idle gear is going to slip over the pin that we just put in. Before you put that in though, make sure you drop one of your little washers on the pin. And your idle gear will go over the pin. And then you're going to put another washer on this side of it. Next, put your drive gear together. Take your slipper clutch pin and your drive gear, and you can see there's a slot in the drive gear. It's going to slip right over this. So you have to take this gear, slide it up into the slot. Once you get the gear on your spur pin, as you can see it slipped in the slots there, you're going to put a washer, slip a washer down this onto there, and another washer will go on the other end. Like so. Now slip your drive gear right next to your idle gear, like that. After you do that, you're going to go ahead and take your differential gear and slip it in this one. Like that. All the gears should rotate when you spin it. So with the lithium grease, you don't want to pack it, you just want to put a couple squirts on it. I'll put a squirt there, just every little bit. Put a little squirt in there. So you'll see, once you start to spin the gears around, they will start mixing around there good. You don't want a super thick coating, just enough to lube them up good. After you spin it quite a few times, if you see a couple bare spots on the gear, just add a little bit more until they're all lubed up nicely. Just don't pack it too much. You'll start to hear it get a sticky type sound. You'll know it's pretty well greased at that point. You'll start seeing a little bit of grease build up over in the corner here, which is good. Should be all good and lubed. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and pop the other side of the case on it. So now the case is together, the gears are in, it's all lubed up and ready to go. Going to slip your slipper clutch over here and put your little axles in there. So you'll notice if you're using the normal plastic transmission that comes with the truck that your wings here are already built on. With this one, this is an REM transmission case. You can see that one's separate. So you don't have to put no tape over the bottom like you do with the plastic one. The plastic one on the bottom of the wings, you got a little hole there. You need to place a piece of electrical tape over that hole.